What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? It is Misha here with another video, just coming through to update y'all on my new baby step number 3, Trace. Yes. Also, make sure that you like and subscribe. I never say that, but I'm going to edit this into the beginning of the video just so you know it's real. I'm giving you time right now
to like and subscribe and actually leave a comment.
So if you saw my last video, you already know what it is. My budget for May is already set and I will have an extra $3,000. $2,000 are going directly into my new emergency fund. That will be anywhere between 3 to 6 months of savings just in case for a rainy day. And then the other $1,000, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do with it because that's my business. If you know the reference, you know the reference. Anywho, so I was thinking, and I was like, you know what? We want to get out of baby step number 3 ASAP. Quick, rapido, all that. So I have two options. I can either take my money that's going to go to my student loans, which I will pay off probably September 17th because I have until the 30th, and make that my emergency fund and replenish my student loans, or just leave my student loans alone in that account, just waiting for September to come, and then building up baby step number 3, my emergency fund. So I decided to just leave my savings for my student loans alone. Like, that is what it is. That was the plan the whole time, was to pay them off. So that will stay there. And then the other money I will just have to earn like I've been doing, you know, so I can get done with baby step number 3 and then move on to 4, 5, and 6 at the same damn time. If you're familiar with Dave Ramsey, you already know that baby steps 4, 5, and 6 are supposed to be during the same time, but you know, I had to throw a little hey on it. But yeah, so that's the plan going forward. And based off of the most conservative numbers, I will have that emergency fund by September, and that doesn't include like my stimulus check or anything, because your girl still hasn't gotten that. The IRS is playing, but when they wanted my money from me, they sure knew where to find me, right? They was on it. But now that they owe me some money, they're yet to be seen. But that's neither here nor there. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm more focused on, after these steps, where will I be next? So I've already increased my 403b, which here in New York is called your TDA, and that's very similar to a 401k for those of you who are not in a nonprofit field or education, etc., etc. And I upped that to 10% for now. And then once the school year starts, I'm going to max it out, which would be 27% of my paycheck will go into my 403b. And that is the max, what is it, like 19,500 is the max amount. So then I started thinking about, okay, well, that's a lot. It is pre-tax money, so it will bring down my adjusted gross income for when tax time comes up. I don't plan on purchasing a new place for a hot minute, so when that time comes, things will shift around, but I'm also expecting a raise in May. So I know that this increase is gonna hit, but it's not gonna hit like that. I already did my math, and I never stopped giving to my 403b. I was at 15%, and then I brought it down to 5%. So I never stopped doing that, just because for my job, it's a 7% fixed rate of return. So it just didn't make sense for me to, you know, take a player fully out the game. And it was pre-tax dollars, so the money that I would have seen after taxes would have been like $75, $50. So yeah. So in that sense, I also didn't fully, truly follow the baby steps, because I didn't go down to 0, but I did go down to 5%. So kudos to me for that. But now I'm increasing it to 10%. So it's not gonna cause an inconvenience to the point where it like hurts. And then by the time it kicks in, it will be after I get my raise. So hopefully I won't even notice that big of a difference in between my take-home pay from what it is now versus what it would be once that increase kicks in. And that got me to think about my net worth. So for those of you who don't know, a net worth is what you are worth in monetary, in capital, in assets. How much are you worth, girl or boy or person? How much are you worth? So the way that you figure out your net worth is you list out all of your assets. Those are things that are worth money. Those are liquid cash. That can be a place that you own. It can be your car. Just things that if you were to sell them, you would get money, right? They belong to you. They are an asset. They bring in money versus a liability. And a liability is something that takes money from you, right? So your expenses, if you have rent, is a liability. Your car note is a liability. It's taking money away from you. Your credit card debt is a liability. It takes money away from you. So anything that draws money away from you is considered a liability. And what you do is you take your assets and you subtract those by your liabilities, and that is your net worth. So for me, my net worth right now, I did the math. Oh, I thought I did the math and then it got jacked up. So let's take my example. My apartment is worth $160,000. I own it $124,000. When you say it like that, damn. And if you subtract that, that is a difference of $36,000. Woo! But then we got some other things too. So we have the money that's in my bank account right now, and not my student loan payment, because that doesn't count. That money doesn't exist. Remember, we're saving that until September. But whatever I have left over in my savings. And then we are going to add what is in my 403B. Liabilities. So yes, my car is still leased. And the reason that I'm not gonna try to like do a trade-in lease or anything like that is just because it's just too much work and I don't have the energy for it. And the payment is already like, it's cool. I owe a little less. If like I totaled up everything that I needed to still pay before the lease term, actually I don't even know. So I'm not even gonna include that for real. So I'm just gonna minus out what the lease would cost at the end of close, like what it would cost me by the end of close, because that's another separate account. So after I add all of my assets and then I subtract my liabilities, I come out with a net worth right now of $47,000. Ow. Talk to me nice or whatever. And you're probably like, that's not even that much money, but when you think about a net worth for someone who's 26, I'm doing okay. Your girl is doing okay. Okay. So my goal for this year is to double my net worth. So right now I'm at 47,000 and I want to get to $94,000 before I am 28. So I'm giving myself a little bit of grace in terms of a year and some change, but my hard deadline is by this time next year. So on April 28th, 2021, I want to be worth $94,000. So I really had to sit down and think and strategize about, okay, how am I gonna double my net worth in a year? Like, what things can I do to ensure that I get here? So what I did is I looked at my projected income for the next year to see how much I could do in savings. So automatically it was like, all right, if I save $1,000 a month just to go into some type of account, right? If I'm able to save $12,000, and what I'm thinking is I want to start my own business or businesses. Like I want to create more passive income for myself. As you all know, I had 6 very active forms of income, streams of income these last 7 months. And baby, it was a lot. It was a lot of work and it was unnecessary. It wasn't unnecessary, but it was just a lot of work, and I was tired and moody and cranky for some of it. And I just know that I need more forms of passive income. So my goal is to create some type of business or businesses that generate $1,000 in profits a month, which would be $12,000. So if I took that original $47,000 that I'm worth now, and I added $12,000, so $1,000 a month for a year, that would put me at $59,000. So cool. So I've increased, my goal is to increase that by $12,000 with just like extra income. Then I also know that my goal is to save 6 months in an emergency fund. And the emergency fund was for like $17,000. That's not the exact number, but if I reach that goal, because that also comes into my net worth of $17,000, that puts me at $76,000 for a net worth projected for if I want to reach my goal. Now, thinking about me maxing out my TDA. Maxing out my TDA would put me at $19,000, and that money would grow. Hopefully, like we figure out this nonsense. But that would put me at $95,000. So I'm very intentional about my plan on how I'm going to double my net worth. And that is, again, through starting a passive business and generating $1,000 in extra income a month. That looks like me saving intentionally in my emergency fund savings account. And that also looks like me being intentional about how much of a percentage I am doing for my TDA, which is a 7% fix. So it's not like the regular stock market where it's like, oh my goodness, you can lose money, blah, blah, blah. No, it's guaranteed 7% fixed regardless of whatever cuckoo-ness is happening in the stock market. So regardless of what happens out in the world, I'm straight. So that 19,000 or that 19,500 is guaranteed money so long as I do it, right? As long as I go on the website, I sign up for it, and I'm very intentional about my budget, because that's going to be crucial. Because essentially I'm taking a $27% pay cut for what comes home to me. And that's a lot of money. So this is literally going to be my biggest test ever, girl. Like, I pride myself on living off of half of my income. But then once I take off 27% of my income, can I swing it? Like, how is that gonna look? So I'm excited to see what that journey is like. Again, I really want to do $100,000, to be honest, and I feel like I could do it. But I'm just gonna go for double right now, and if I hit the 100,000, then I'm there and I'm here with it. It's just something so like nice to me of that sound, like, oh girl, you worth 100,000. Like, okay, heard you. And obviously the goal is to build and build and build. And my thought process is, even if I increase by this number, right, that 50,000 every year, if I do that, and this is a simple formula, like there's nothing fancy that I'm doing, but after 20 years, I will reach $1 million by doing a very simple formula of savings, 403B, and a business. 3 very simple things. In 20 years, I will be a millionaire. And this doesn't even include, right, I would have paid off my mortgage by the time 20 years comes. My 403B is growing by 7%. I still have my Roth IRA. It doesn't include any raises that I get, and I get them every couple years. So this is just simple, bare bones, the most conservative estimate that if I just follow this plan for 20 years, I will be worth $1 million, which lets me know that I will reach that goal so much sooner than that, right? Like, bro, it just, like it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. So I'm really geeked about that because it's a clear path to seeing how someone so normal can become a millionaire. Like, real basic, I'm not an engineer making 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year. I am a New York City teacher who lives in New York, who is out here finding a way to get to a path of wealth, and I'm doing it by myself. So if you have a partner and y'all focus up together, like, two is always better than one. Two is usually better than one unless you're dating a liability, and if that's the case, then homie gotta go. And yes, people can be liabilities too. Like, if you have a homie who's always turning up, like every time you take homegirl out and she's acting a fool and the police come, then you gotta bail her out, like, that's a liability. That's costing you money. If you have people in your life who are just like, why are you always doing too much? Or like, why are you gonna start that business? That's a liability. Those are people who are putting negative thoughts in your head and in your atmosphere and in your vibe. Like, you don't need those types of people in your life. So when I'm talking about assets and liabilities, think about people too, because people can be liabilities too, sis. Like, a fact is a fact. And at this point, we're trying to generate wealth and we need to have more assets and liabilities, and that includes people. So to the left with your liability having ass. And that's that on that, period. So yeah, that's my plan. Nothing too fancy, but just to give you all an idea of what my planning process is like. And I plan like this even when it comes to figuring out like my payoff dates and my target dates for my debt. I literally sat down with my handy dandy calculator with a pen and some paper, and I went through all the different ways that I could pay off debt. And it's in one of my videos, I think, where I sat there and I explained to y'all, like, okay, if I make an extra $600 a month, I can pay it off by this day. If I make $100,000 a month, I can pay it off by this day. If I make an extra $1,500 a month, I can make it by this day. So that is my process. Maybe I'll do another video where I'm really, really, really focused and, you know, am doing all of that other stuff. But yeah. Oh, also, make sure that you like and subscribe. I never say that, but I'm going to edit this into the beginning of the video just so you know it's real. I'm giving you time right now to like and subscribe and actually leave a comment. Like, get into this hair, get into this lip gloss, get into these earrings, get into this necklace, get into something. Say something, because, again, I'm trying to generate passive income, and we all know that YouTube can be the plug, and your girl is just out here trying to see what sticks. I'm new to this. This is a new journey, building passive income outside of like stocks. So I'm just trying to throw some things up, see what sticks, see what works, see what I enjoy. I really enjoy these experiences. It's like a live vlog, like it's for myself, but you know, if I can make some extra coins, then sis, why not? Like, shit, Lord. So yeah, that's the tea on that. And yeah, so in the meantime, in between time, peace, 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 peace. Stay blessed and stick to your budget the best way how in these weird and scary times. With much love, it is Misha. Bye, y'all. Thanks for spending time with your girl.